Welcome to this man's garage. In this video we have a 2005 Toyota 4Runner and we're doing the front driver's side wheel bearing on it. Now they don't really sell them separate, the hub and the bearing, and these are pressed in. So what I'm gonna do, I just bought one from bluepitbearings.com, which is assembled and pressed in for you already, which is great for the DIY guy. Now this procedure is the exact same for any 2002-2009 4th Gen 4Runner. However, this website sells bearings for anything from 2003 to 2014 Toyota and Lexus 4x4, 4x2. Okay. These are 13/16. Okay. Alright, this thing's stuck on there. Alright, this one is stuck on here on the hub. So there's a couple of ways of doing this. I can lower the car and just thread on a couple threads to lug nuts and turn the wheel until it pops off. Or you could use a clown mallet in the back here with 2 lug nuts on there and just whack it. Whack the bitch till she bleeds. So you just hit it right there and it pops it off. Alright. Turn the wheel. What I like to do is push these pistons a little bit. So just have a little bit of play when you take this caliper off. Good. Next thing I'm going to do is take this 12mm bolt that holds this brake line bracket on here. Now the 2 caliper to spindle bolts, they're 17mm bolts. Take those off. One's up here. And now this one, I have a breaker bar on this. Now this comes right off, and hang this so it doesn't hang from the line over here. Just put that thing over there. Now I'll take the rotor off. Okay, now I'm going to use a little chisel here with a hammer to pop this grease cap off. This off, and I'm going to fix that. Almost good as new. Okay, now we got to straighten out this cotter pin. Grab your dikes, my favorite tool in my tool chest. Grab this. Okay, now you can go to AutoZone or Advance, or whoever has a free loaner tool program, and you rent this for free. This is part number 27293 OEM. It's axle nut socket, 35mm socket, and we're going to use that to take the axle nut off. Also, on a side note, guys, I'm also using this 1/2" drive torque wrench from AutoZone's free rental tool program, so you can rent this for free. It's OEM part number 27043, and this is a torque wrench that we'll be torquing all the bolts down with. Okay, now there's different ways of doing this. I'm cool, I have an impact gun, so I'm going to impact this off. If you don't have an impact gun, what you can do is you can put the tire back on and take the center cap off, put the car on the floor, and put a breaker bar on this while the tires on its way to the vehicle, and just crack it loose. Or you could put a screwdriver where the ventilated part of the rotor is and rest it up against the caliper and just turn it so that this hub doesn't turn and crack it off that way. So I'm a cool clown, I'm gonna use this. Okay, I re-threaded the nut a little bit so it's flat with the end of the CV axle. Now I'm gonna try to whack this a couple times just to free it up from the hub. So it's free, you see it's moving. So now we'll go ahead and take the whole hub assembly off. Okay, now there's a few things here you could use your personal favorite lubricant on. I'm using Coil. You can spray the hub bolts over here, the bearing bolts, and also between the hub and the splash shield over here, just so it's easier later on to take off when you're up to that. Okay, now these 4 bolts here are 17 millimeters, so go ahead and crack those loose. And the last one, there you go. Okay, now I'm just going to loosen all these, and you can't take them all the way out because they're gonna hit the hub over here. So I'm just gonna go a little bit out with all of them. Okay, now I back the bolts out a little bit and whack this bitch like she owes you some money because we're gonna replace this anyway, so. Alright, now go ahead and put a screwdriver or a chisel in there to force more out. Okay, as you can see, I don't know if you can see from there, there's a little bit of a gap here. That's what I wanted. See that? So I'm going to go ahead and now and take this out a little bit more. It seems like it's out. Okay, now take the bolts out all the way if you can. There you go. And remember how this goes back on, you want to put it exactly the same way, the splash shield. And you can see there's a little O-ring over here too, a little gasket right here. Alright, now the problems we're having with this bearing, we're driving on the road, you hear like what the customer complained, like a knobby tire. A little bit like grinding and vibrating. And as you can hear, that's not good. And when you grab the tire, there's actual play back and forth like this on the 12 and 6 o'clock position. You actually saw play back here. I'm gonna show you an example of this. I have a video of it, and I'm gonna put it in the description below. I'm gonna put a link. There's a seal back there. It's not a big deal if you don't change it out, because the bearing is a seal bearing and dirt can't really get into it. This seal is in good shape, but while you're in there, you can replace it if you want. I'm just gonna use some brake cleaner here now and clean this whole area over here. If you see a lot of rust here, you can also go with a little bit of a sandpaper here to clean that out. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean all this out. I also took a Scotch-Brite pad and cleaned this surface of the spindle out. I'm going to put some rust protectant on that. Okay, now to put the bearing and hub assembly in. This is how it comes. It's all pressed in nicely. I'm going to put some anti-seize on these splines here. Alright, now put the splash shield in. There's two dimples here. Those line up with the two dimples here. So make sure you know how this came off. So you put it on exactly the same way. And now this goes right on. Just gotta put the splines in. Get the bolt started. And that caught. That caught. And I'll put the bottom ones in. And these are going to drive this in. Okay, now what you gotta do here is you gotta go around, and this will be pressing into the spindle, so you gotta do a little bit on this side, a little bit on that side, go around and keep on doing that until the whole thing gets pressed in. Okay, these torque down to 59 foot-pounds, but we can't fit anything back there, so I'm just gonna do my clown arm calibration to 59, and that's pretty good. I'll do the rest. Okay, we put some fluid film, anti-rust corrosion protectant all around the face of this hub. Now we'll put the rotor on. And now put the caliper on. Okay, we put two nuts on here, a pair of nuts to hold this rotor on. Put the caliper on, and I'm going to put these bolts on in the back. Alright, move this around. So you can get the hole from behind. That's good. And now do the bottom one. Move the caliper around. And now tighten those down to 91 foot-pounds. And you're good. And now put this brake bracket back on. And you're good. So this goes on at 173 foot-pounds. I'm going to put that on. Okay, now I'm going to put a screwdriver on the vented side of the rotor right in the middle, so it's butts up against the caliper. And you can also do this to loosen it. Go ahead and do this to 173 foot-pounds. We're good. Put this back in. The wheel bearing comes with an OEM cotter pin, so I'm going to put that in. Okay, we're pretty much done here. I'm going to put some rust protectant fluid film over here too on the face of this hub. Or you could put some anti-seize there so it doesn't stick, the wheel doesn't stick on there. And that's pretty much the whole job. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like me, and share me. Check me out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Clowny1969. Sayonara.